Hi everyone! Today we're creating this fun pumpkin diorama. The first thing that you'll need to create this project is a fake pumpkin. I got this one from Michael's and it has the hole pre-cut to create a diorama. But you could use any other brand of pumpkin and cut the hole yourself. Next you'll need to go to the link in the description and print this pattern for the mini haunted house. And you'll need an X-Acto knife, or if you have some scissors that have a sharp point, that will work too. And just go ahead and carefully cut out the windows and doors on the house pattern. And if you're not an adult, please ask one to help you with this. X-Acto knives are super sharp, so be careful. And then just go ahead and cut out the whole house. So you'll have all these pieces when you're done. And first I'm taking the roof piece and I'm tracing it onto some craft paper and folding it in half, and I'm just using a stylus here to score the fold. So I'm just pressing really hard with it so it's indented and it will fold easier. You can also use a pencil or a pen that doesn't work to do this, and then just fold that in half once you've cut it out and you're left with that. Next I'm taking the house pattern and I'm scoring the folds again. You'll also want to score the folds of the tabs like I'm showing here. Then I'm taking a gray piece of paper and I'm carefully tracing the house pattern onto it, and make sure that you lift up all those tabs and trace behind them as well as the tab itself. And make sure you trace the holes for the doors and windows as well. And you'll be left with this. Then I took the X-Acto knife and cut out the windows and doors. And then I cut the whole house out. And then I took the stylus and I scored those fold lines again and folded them on the tabs and the whole house. And now it's time to build the house. So I just took a glue stick and I put some glue on each tab and then pressed the pieces together. And then once the house is assembled, take the shutter pattern pieces and trace them onto some paper. And then cut those out. And just glue them in place with a glue stick onto the front of the house. Then I went ahead and attached the roof piece, and first I tried to use a glue stick, but I found that that didn't quite hold well enough, so I used some hot glue, which worked really well, and so I'd recommend doing that as well. Then once the roof is attached, set that aside and we're going to create the door. So I took some scrapbook paper that was patterned like wood and I traced the door onto it and cut it out. And I folded that tab and then I glued it to the house on the inside. So there you have the finished haunted house. Next I'm taking that same wood pattern paper and I'm just tracing that fence post pattern, and I traced one at the end of the paper and then one over a few inches, and that way I can just cut a bunch of them that I know will be the right height. And then I traced those other two fence pieces as well, and then I cut each of those out. And I took the fence post one and just cut it vertically into a bunch of pieces. And feel free to create your own fence or no fence at all if you'd like. And then I just glued those fence post pieces onto the other piece, like this. So I had these two pieces when I was done. And now it's time to create the actual diorama. So I bought this black Spanish moss from Joann's, and I'm going to use it to fill the bottom of the pumpkin. So I just took out a big clump, and you kind of want it to stay together. It's easier to work with that way. And then I just kind of stretched out the edges until it fit the bottom of the pumpkin well. And I tested it with the house to see if I liked how it was. So it looks like this on the inside. And then I have these Firefly Lights, and you can use Firefly Lights if you'd like, or you can just use a tea light. Either one will work. So I took the lights and I uncoiled them. And then I wanted some to be inside the house to light it up. So I just kind of rolled up the end of the lights a little bit. And I placed it inside the house through one of the side windows. And then I just kind of adjusted it to fit, and you can use a little hot glue on the inside of the house to keep it in place. Then I took the battery pack and I put it kind of in the back, a little bit under the Spanish moss, but you want to make sure that it's somewhere that it's easy to get to in case you want to change the batteries or turn them off. And then I just kind of stuffed the rest of the lights into the back of the pumpkin, and then decided where I wanted to place the house and put some hot glue on the bottom and glued it to the moss. And just kind of adjust everything so it looks how you'd like it to. Next, I'm going to glue the fence in place. So position everything where you want it to be. You may find that you need to do some rearranging or take the battery pack out to make things easier while you're gluing stuff in place. And you may also want to glue some of that moss in place in the front, just to keep things from moving around. Then I just put some glue on the bottom of the fence pieces and stuck them to the moss. Then I got these mini pumpkins from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to take two of them and glue one on each side of the house. And I put a little more moss under one of them to raise it up a little bit higher, and glued it in place. Then I took these bat-shaped Firefly Lights that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I just decided where I wanted to place them in the pumpkin. And so I just stuffed a bunch of them into the back. And then I took the last four and I decided that I wanted to glue them kind of to the front of the pumpkin. So I made a U shape with the wire between each of them. So it looked like this. And I'm sorry this is out of frame. And then I just put a little hot glue at the top of each of the U shapes, and I glued them to the front inside of the pumpkin. Just kind of trying to equally space them. And then I just rearranged the lights again in the back. And then I put the battery pack on kind of the side behind the house where I could get to it. Then I found these little pebbles outside in the garden, and I decided to use them to make a path to the house. And I just hot glued them in place to the moss. So it looked like that. Next, I made a moon shape out of paper with a thin strip of paper attached to the top. And then I just glued the top of the thin strip to the top inside of the pumpkin. So the moon is hanging down just like that. And then lastly, I decided to add a ghost. This is optional too, but I just cut a ghost shape out of white paper. And I took a black colored pencil and drew a face. And then I just glued it inside the house on one of the Firefly lights in front of the window, so it looked like this. And that's it! I hope you've enjoyed this pumpkin diorama tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great Halloween.